Hello there, I'm Pete Cantu. I'm the mayor of Plainsboro Township, and I want to welcome you to another Spotlight Special. Today I'm delighted to have two guests who are great friends of Plainsboro Township and involved in the business communities both regionally and locally. I have Peter Crowley, who's the president of the Princeton Regional Chamber of Commerce. Peter, welcome.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
And I have Kurt Baker with me today, who's the chairman of the Plainsboro Business Partnership. Both, as I say, very active in supporting businesses, both regionally and locally. So we'll start with you, Peter. You want to talk a little bit about, I know you have no loss for words when it comes to talking about the Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I know the great things have been happening there. So you want to tell us a little bit about the Chamber, its makeup, and some of the things that are going on with the Chamber?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we're really proud. The Chamber started back in the 1950s as the growth of the suburban areas really came to be, a lot of companies moving in. In the last 60 years, we've been very fortunate. We cover 5 counties in central Jersey, almost central Jersey. We cover all of Mercer, we cover the southern Somerset, southern Middlesex, southern Hunterdon, over into Bucks County, and a little bit into Monmouth County. So it's a pretty good footprint. Within that footprint, there's a number of companies and towns that have really been very active with us. We just recently became the largest chamber in New Jersey, in central Jersey, which we're pretty proud about. About 1,200 clients, which are our company members, about 4,500 individuals that are in contact with us. We have a full-time staff of 8 going to 9 as we've grown. And as you've known, you have some experience with chambers. They're very unique organizations that both support the local community, support the business community, and really there to help grow the businesses in the area.
That's great. Well, congratulations on your growth. It sounds like things are going very well with the Chamber.
Thank you, they are.
And I know you were here for the birth of the Plainsboro Business Partnership, and we had a conversation at the time when they were looking to form a new group.
Correct.
Business partnership. Perhaps you could talk a little bit about the history of that and its connection and relationship with the Princeton Chamber.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting opportunity for us, and that goes back about 5 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And the Plainsboro Business Partnership really came about as an active focus on the downtown area of Plainsboro. As you know, you've done a phenomenal job with Plainsboro. It has grown dramatically. It has a headquarters for a number of large corporations, a lot of service firms, law firms, and it's really been a great balance between building those corporations, the healthcare facilities, as well as building the community. So you should be very proud of that. What we were proud about was to be able to come in with the Plainsboro Business Partnership and help to focus the downtown among the companies in the area. Very often you've got a commuting area where they come into work and then go home. We want to try to change that. We also want to try to bring together the downtown business community, which is not just the downtown Plainsboro, but the expansion of the areas that are growing up, to get them to work together, to get that information out to the consumers in Plainsboro, and really to bring our expertise to that. We've been fortunate that the Plainsboro Business Partnership has grown. It's grown both in its impact in the community, but especially its impact in the business community. Mm-hmm. We'll hear from Kurt in a couple of minutes, but Kurt's following 2 very effective chairs who have been involved in the Plainsboro Business Partnership and have all taken it to the next level. So our goal is to continue to work with you, continue to work with the companies in this region, continue to work with Kurt and his team to keep bringing value to the businesses and to the community.
That's great. Kurt, as the newly minted chairman of the Plainsboro Business Partnership, I know you've been involved for some time. Perhaps you'd like to expand a little bit and talk about the business partnership and some of the things that you're doing to achieve the kind of mission that Peter talked about in supporting the small businesses and Plainsboro retail businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. As Peter mentioned, this really started off as just business owners getting together and trying to find ways to promote business here in Plainsboro, bring people in and try to essentially cross-refer and try to keep the business as much as we could here and really raise the visibility of Plainsboro business, because it's a very diverse community, both business-wise and from an ethnic background. And there's a lot of mixtures here happening in Plainsboro, so we want to try to bring that diversity and kind of bring it together and assimilate that in the business atmosphere and joining with the government and so forth, and just try to promote us as our own entity and try to expand business for everybody and to improve the community overall. And so we've done some events over the years which have done pretty well, like we did the showcase event, which is that's more of a consumer type thing where we would bring people in and try to give back to kind of the community and things like that. We would do other events, at the Preserve. We did like a wine tasting type thing there, and it was like a social event where we bring business people in there after hours and things like that. So these are some things we've done in the past, and now we're kind of moving ahead into the future. Like, how do we start to really promote businesses more and more? And that's kind of really what our goals are going forward. And I guess we'll talk about that a little bit as far as some of our things that we'd like to do over the next 2 years, because that's my chairmanship is a 2-year period. So we kind of have our goals and objectives for that period.
2-year period to let you go after 2 years. You do a
You
good
just
job.
keep
They
'em.
want to keep you around.
Correct. So I have 2 people I've followed that have done a great job, and now we're kind of moving to that next level. Each step is kind of, we're just trying to move one level up each time we do this. And
I think a couple of things. One of the challenges that I think it's been alluded to is the fact that we have a retail business community here that sees an awful lot of employees. We have a tremendous employee base here. And I guess the challenge is to try to make people aware of the retail and business opportunities that exist within Plainsboro. Opportunities for shopping and restaurants and those types of things. Can you talk a little bit about, I know there's been some initiatives that undertaken by the business partnership to try to connect the employee base with the business, the local business base, and improve upon that situation.
Yeah, that's correct. A few years ago, we felt there was a need to really promote the businesses in kind of a structured format, so we could our concern was we had, like, especially larger businesses, people come in that commute from out of the area, maybe Pennsylvania, North Jersey, things like that. So a lot of people come into the area during the day, but they don't necessarily understand what's here, and they may not necessarily stay afterwards, and there may be things that they could do and other ways that they could participate in the local community. So we actually, Ed Keenan was the one that came up with this idea initially, was to create a directory, which was really focused on what's available here in the Plainsboro area, what types of things are available, and that was distributed among the different companies and entities throughout Plainsboro. And we did a really good job of distributing that and letting people know that we do have local businesses here and so forth, and that did very well. And now we're working on kind of moving that to kind of the next level, where we want to really move that to kind of an online interactive type connection. So we want to be able to provide that information online, but also provide additional services that we think are going to help promote the businesses within Plainsboro itself.
So you plan on continuing that initiative?
Yeah, the directory concept, I think our focus at the moment is really to bring that information, which we feel a little more accessible online, because I know most people, when they're looking for very simple information, will typically, maybe they'll pull out their phones and kind of search on the phone, whereas even just a few years ago, you were more likely to look at a paper item and a paper directory. Now, people still do that, obviously, but I think the shift is moving a little bit more to the digital world, where people are doing searches. If they want to go to lunch, as an example, where do I go? What's nearby? Well, we want to try to bring that in and say, okay, we want to make that a little bit easier to find, so they know people that are participating in the local community, what's actually available right here in Plainsboro. We want to make that really easy for people to find, and then to obviously participate in the local businesses as well, and maybe keep people here a little bit longer to do more, because they just may not realize what's here in a lot of cases.
Well, I think it was a great initiative, and I think there's a great deal of potential that exists within the business community to bring people into the community, more into the community. And I know a lot of the retail establishments recognize that, and they're anxious to capitalize on that, I think. Peter, these are not unique, I guess, challenges for small business, is that right?
No, they're not. And it's interesting. We've looked at several models, and they all revolve around how do you bring together the business community. There's a group in Montgomery that started a business association based on some things that we've done here. In fact, it's interesting. Many of the local business organizations that have started recently have called the Plainsboro Business Partnership to get some ideas on how do you do this. And it is challenging. You've got independent retailers and independent businesses that get in at 8 in the morning, leave at 6 at night, so they don't have a lot of time to get out there. I think Kurt's absolutely right. Our job is to try to bring more of that visibility to those businesses, to the consumers. You've Kurt mentioned both a corporate entity group as well as individual residents here that can take advantage of the opportunities. A vibrant downtown is absolutely essential to a community. Without them, it's tough to really have a heart. And Plainsboro has a tremendous heart down here. You really do. And a lot of the development that's been driven the last couple of years is around that. It helps your identity. It helps who you are. It helps get a sense of community. So that's why we believe it's so important. But it's challenging. It's not easy.
One of the other, when we talked initially, when this was being considered, there's been an awful lot of struggles in the past trying to address the same issue, and typically they haven't been terribly successful over a long period of time. I was very enthusiastic about the linkage between the Chamber of Commerce, the Princeton Chamber, because it provided the expertise and provided the I guess you say the technical capabilities to assist in that process. And one of the reasons I was enthusiastic is because I think the Plainsboro community, the Plainsboro government, myself and others, benefit from having a linkage into the business community. And this provides that benefit of having a linkage to get an understanding, I guess a two-way communication going with the business community on what we're doing, but also to get a better understanding of how we can be of assistance and what's really important to us, to have a vibrant business community here.
And honestly, if I could jump in a second, you have done a good job with that. But if you think back to our first event, it was the Breakfast with the Mayor.
Yeah.
And it was a chance for over 80 companies, and that's been the number we keep seeing, to come in and both hear what your vision is, to have an interchange with you, but to sort of give you their ideas. And I think that is important to you, at least we feel it is. And it's interesting because we're working with other smaller groups right now, and you're right, there have been tries that you don't have the expertise or even the logistical background that we bring. And that's one of the Chamber's strengths, is it brings we've done this, we know it, and we can bring that value and that support mechanism and then let the community sort of move forward with it.
I think it's been very successful. I think that linkage has really produced very positive results. I'm particularly impressed with some of the programs that were run at some of the local businesses. You've had opportunities for people to come out and interact with one another. I saw one at two of the local banks in the last couple of years.
Right.
And maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, about those type of events and what they produce.
Oh, absolutely. And that's just a way, it's kind of like after hours type thing where you come in, the businesses get together after hours. It gives an opportunity for people to stay after work, so to speak. It also gives an opportunity for the individual business, in this case, the banks or the Preserve. We did the Preserve. So just to show off some of the things that are here. And the idea is to have people kind of stay after work a little bit, come right after work, make it easy for the business people to come after work. And then we intermingle. We talk to each other, and typically they're mainly Plainsboro business, but they're not necessarily just Plainsboro business. They might be people from nearby businesses as well that come in, and so we interact, and it's just a way for us to be community and understand what everybody's wants and needs are, and ultimately some business comes out of that, which is always a nice thing. But it's more about socializing, exchanging ideas, and then as a result, maybe improving business for all of us.
And they were very well attended events.
Oh, yes.
There was a great outpouring of the local business. You say they weren't all local, but most of them were local.
Well, I mean, the people coming were not necessarily local.
That's right.
So, but they tend to run pretty close to capacity. I mean, they're pretty
It's
filled up. I know
interesting
that.
too, because they're really designed to be networking events. And I think sometimes in our global social media age, we forget how important networking is. You can have 5,000 friends on LinkedIn, you don't even know 4,000 of them. But you come to a networking event, you get to shake a hand of someone who's a business owner down here. You get to meet yourself, Mayor, you come to these all the time. You get to meet other business owners, and you get to meet some of the individuals in the community. So from that point of view, Kurt's right. Not only do you do additional business out of that, but you get to know who your neighbors are. I remember growing up with towns I used to grow in, we all knew all our neighbors, we had block parties, all the things that you sort of used to do, and I don't think those are always impactful today.
Well, as somebody who's in the dark ages of social media, I love those events because it's an opportunity to interact with people.
It is, and we've even seen
one-on-one, face-to-face, and I enjoy that kind of contact.
And we've even seen that's one of the real promises that we bring, not only to the Plainsboro, but to all the regions we cover, is the fact that we're there to help people connect and make those connections work long-term. That's important to us.
Well, I think an important thing to continue this progress is to continue to grow, and to grow in membership, and to grow in program offerings and things that try to meet the goals of your mission. And I think maybe it'd be good to talk a little bit about the kind of membership you have today, and what you're seeking to do as far as expanding membership.
Oh, as far as the membership itself and the Plainsboro Business Partnership?
And the business partnership.
So that's a percentage of the chamber number. You might know that better than I would.
Yeah,
as far as the
it's
exact
interesting.
number.
There's a good percentage. We look upon it as a number of businesses in the region and then base of the chamber. And there are over 100 businesses that are involved. Some actively, some just becoming non-active, but getting involved. The Chamber's 1,200 businesses are a reflection of the region. So we'll do programs that actually bring people from Plainsboro and from the area together. So you don't just have Plainsboro always being independent over here, or Montgomery being independent, or Hamilton being independent. We bring those all together. We also, through the programs like the Plainsboro Business Partnership, nurture those that are individual, nurture the individual regions and the communities. So we think it's a really good mix between local initiatives like Plainsboro, our regional initiatives like the partnership we do with Mercer County, as well as our almost statewide, our New Jersey Conference for Women. Brings over 800 women into the area. And again, that's another way to reflect.
So it brings the focus of a small organization and the benefits of the larger organization.
Well said.
And
Well
that's
said.
great. I mean, that really should bode well as far as future success is concerned. So do you folks have anything else you'd like to add before we close this session?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just as part of the kind of this digital thing where we want to try to promote like the businesses online. So we're going to use the power essentially of the chamber there to try to develop more information online about the businesses that exist in Plainsboro and things like that. Because when you do, because they have, as we pointed out earlier, they kind of have that strategic power of even online they have a strategic power. So if you search for a business that's a member of the chamber, as an example, they're going to come up fairly high on a search itself. So when you link that into the fact they're a Plainsboro business, you can start promoting things like, maybe we've talked about things like video and communication and talking about events that are being held here in Plainsboro and things like that. So these are long-term things that we're talking about, but we really want to be able to promote the fact that things are happening in Plainsboro, make it easy for people to access that information, make it easy for the business owners and the retail people who can't necessarily come to some of these events during the day because of the nature of their business, but they can still participate in some of the promotion things through some of this online stuff and combining that with the face-to-face type events that we have. So it's a multifaceted type approach that we want to make sure that we're really kind of reaching people in the way that works best for them, in the way that works best for the business owners, regardless of whether it's a Fortune 500 company or it's an independent individual business that's working out of their home. All of these businesses exist in Plainsboro in a very robust way, and I think we kind of want to connect all those back together in a community manner that really helps us all and helps Plainsboro itself grow.
It sounds very exciting. And I wish you great success in your future plans.
Thanks, Mayor.
Anything?
Yeah, we're just very fortunate that we've got a very strong regional community, and that community is made up of towns like Plainsboro, Princeton, Hamilton, Robbinsville, Hopewell, and being able to bring all those experts. We learn from what you do. We learn from what others do, and we can transfer that knowledge base. I think Kurt's right. We've tripled in size in the last 7 years. We think that's valuable for the region, and we're going to continue that kind of focus, especially segmentation and focusing on real estate, like our Real Estate Business Alliance, our Technology Business Alliance, things that we find our members are really asking for. We're just proud of what's happened. We're proud of your partnership, and we look forward to the next 5 years.
Well, we appreciate you both for being with us today and talking about your chambers and business organizations. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for the contribution you're not only making to the business community, but also making to my community, Plainsboro Township. So we appreciate it. Appreciate you having with us today. We wish you continued great success in your programs.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. That concludes another Spotlight Special. I look forward to joining you in the future, in the near future, for another Spotlight Special. Thanks for being with us today.